From the Pep Radio studios, this is Today in History. On June 30th, 1934, Adolf Hitler launched his blood purge of political and military rivals in Germany in what became known as the Night of the Long Knives. Also on this date, in 1918, labor activist and socialist Eugene V. Debs was arrested in Cleveland, charged under the Espionage Act of 1917 for a speech he'd made 2 weeks earlier denouncing U.S. involvement in World War I. Debs was sentenced to prison and disenfranchised for life. In 1921, President Warren G. Harding nominated former President William Howard Taft to be Chief Justice of the United States, succeeding the late Edward Douglas White. In 1936, Margaret Mitchell's novel Gone with the Wind was released. In 1958, the U.S. Senate passed the Alaska Statehood Bill by a vote of 64 to 20. In 1971, the Supreme Court ruled 6-3 that the government could not prevent the New York Times or the Washington Post from publishing the Pentagon Papers. In 1971, a Soviet space mission ended in tragedy when 3 cosmonauts aboard Soyuz 11 were found dead of asphyxiation inside their capsule after it had returned to Earth. In 1985, 39 American hostages from a hijacked TWA jetliner were freed in Beirut after being held 17 days. In 1986, the Supreme Court in Bowers v. Hardwick ruled 5-4 that states could outlaw homosexual acts between consenting adults. The court effectively reversed this decision in 2003 in Lawrence v. Texas. In 1994, the U.S. Figure Skating Association stripped Tonya Harding of the national championship and banned her for life for her role in the attack on rival Nancy Kerrigan. In 2009, American soldier Private First Class Bo Bergdahl went missing from his base in eastern Afghanistan and was later confirmed to have been captured by insurgents after walking away from his post. Bergdahl was released on May 31st, 2014 in exchange for 5 Taliban detainees. He pleaded guilty to desertion and misbehavior before the enemy, but was spared a prison sentence by a military judge. In 2016, Defense Secretary Ash Carter announced that transgender people would be allowed to serve openly in the U.S. military, ending one of the last bans on service in the armed forces. In 2019, President Donald Trump became the first sitting U.S. president to set foot in North Korea, meeting Kim Jong-un at the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea. In 2020, Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves signed a landmark bill retiring the last state flag bearing the Confederate battle emblem. And in 2022, Ketanji Brown Jackson was sworn in as the first Black woman on the Supreme Court. That's Today in History. Tune in tomorrow evening between 8 p.m. and midnight for the July 1st edition of Today in History. Now back to more music on Pep Radio.